Hey guys.
No picking your nose, no weird stuff. No weird stuff. We good?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Thank you all. Appreciate y'all coming. I'm just going to give you guys a little presentation about some key points that I've learned about becoming a vegetarian. So just bear with me as I get through this, all right? Most of us have heard about or know somebody that's a vegetarian, and we know about some of the benefits of being a vegetarian. Very rarely do you ever hear about somebody saying, oh man, being a vegetarian is a terrible, terrible thing. So all of us have some exposure to that. It's great for it's great for our bodies, it's great for the environment, and it's also good for the animals that are involved or not involved with being vegetarian. So, but being a predominantly meat-eating society, it's a really tough choice to make a lot of times, and it's a big change. So we go from eating meat all the time, saying I'm not going to do that anymore, to just eating vegetarian type of food. It's a little bit of a transition for a lot of us. So as our society becomes more and more health conscious, why is it that less of us are making these choices to have a healthier diet? Well, more specifically, why are we not becoming vegetarians? And that's what I'm going to talk to you guys about now. For me, myself, with all the research that I've done with this, I kind of had to ask myself those same questions. You know, I'm an outdoors kind of person. I ride my bike to work every once in a while. You guys see me doing that. I do it not only for the health benefits, but also, just so I don't have to get in my car and drive here all the time. So a lot of the things that I learned about through this project made me question why I wasn't doing it. The big thing that I learned because of that was that I'm not alone in that. A lot of people struggle with that choice if they come to this place where they're trying to make a change in their diet and not eat meat anymore or whatever it happens to be that they want to make a change. So the four main points to this that I came up with is your diet, which is kind of touched on that a little bit, your diet, lifespan, the carbon footprint that being a vegetarian has or does not actually have as opposed to eating meat, and as well as the desired change. So change is a big thing. If you're not ready to make that change, you're never going to do that. Something I came across that I thought was pretty interesting. Growing up as a kid, talking to my parents, a lot of what they talked about was always a meat and potato kind of diet. I think some of us seniors still do that today. It was meat, potato, and maybe a vegetable. And when doing this, I found out that we're actually now, at this point, eating twice as much meat as we used to eat, or used to eat 60 years ago. So when our parents were, most of our parents were growing up, or going into adulthood, they were eating less meat than we're eating now. After all my research and the impending change that I was about to make with myself, I got a little bit upset. I feel like I may have, at this point, actually already had my last piece of filet mignon, my last Philly cheesesteak, and a little bit that, it's kind of disconcerting because it tastes really, really, really good, and I think that's the biggest reason that a lot of people do eat certain meats is the taste of it. There's a little bit of a misconception that meat is the only source of protein that's available. Maybe not the only, but the best source of protein out there. People that are a little bit more health conscious are a little bit more aware that there are other sources of protein that are out there. But in general, when you ask people why do you eat meat, what are the health benefits, the first thing they say is, oh, well, it's a great source of protein. Although it is a source of protein, it's not the best and it's not the only source of protein. And to elaborate with that a little bit more, according to author Reed Bengals from the Vegetarian Resource Group, protein in the vegan, the Vegan Resource Group, in an article titled "Protein in the Vegan Diet," nearly all vegetables, beans, grains, nuts, seeds contain some and often much of the protein that we need. Do you have to be creative with the choices that you're making? Absolutely. It's definitely a transition that you have to make with that. But it can be done, And the biggest thing is just making that change. Another interesting fact that I came across, and this is kind of an eye-opener for me, if we were to take like a controlled environment here and we were to take one individual and for the first 80 years of their life, they would have never, ever, ever have a hamburger. Kudos to them. But let's say we gave them a hamburger once a day, every day for their lifespan. It actually can reduce your lifespan by over a third. So you take that, and you take that person that was going to be 80, and they're only getting to about about 55 because of that. It doesn't matter what's on that hamburger, it just matters that it's a piece of burger on the bun. Forget about the condiments and all the other stuff that you're putting in your body. Just that hamburger alone will actually reduce your lifespan by about a third. Another benefit that we get from all these non-meat sources, being vegetarian, beans, grains, and such and whatnot, is that you don't have any of the negative, or you don't have any of the cholesterol that's associated with that, which is the big thing that's decreasing the longevity of your lifespan there. Not only with the hold on a second. And going into that with the cholesterol, there's an article by Jeremy Garrett from the Journal of Applied Philosophy. He states that eating animals and their byproducts on a regular basis could make your choice to be a vegan so large that it would actually outweigh all the pleasures that one would receive with regards to how the meat tastes and whatnot, and the extra years gained from eliminating said animal byproducts. And we're not only talking about cholesterol here, that's a byproduct of meat consumption. We also have to think about, the hormones and the chemicals that are associated with meat and the way that we're growing our meat, if you will. And then there's another thing on that a lot of people don't know about. Meat in itself, the protein that's associated with it has a molecule that is attached to that protein that our body doesn't respond very well to. And because of that negative response, we develop antibodies against that molecule. What happens with that is that on a vascular level, the vessels within your body will actually have an inflammatory response. So when you think about, all right, I'm eating meat and it's laden with cholesterol, those cholesterols cause plaque. What do plaques do? Plaques build up in those arteries or in those veins, and it closes that what we call a lumen, or just picture your vein as a garden hose. So that hose is getting smaller and smaller and smaller with those plaques. The next thing that happens is now you have this molecule that our antibodies are responding to, and you get this inflammatory response, and then you have inflammation, and it makes that lumen even smaller and smaller and smaller. So it's really no wonder why we're having such a big problem with cardiovascular disease and strokes and whatnot. And a lot of it has to do with our diet, and in particular eating meat. So. And last but not least, one other thing I would like to talk about is the carbon footprint associated with eating meat. Most, if not all of you, have heard of this concept when we talk about carbon footprint, and it has anything to do with the things we buy and how we get those things. A lot of times it's associated with the automobile industry and oil companies. In an article by David DeGrazia titled Moral Vegetarianism from a Broad Basis, found in the Journal of Moral Philosophy, he states that 8 billion, so over 8 billion animals are raised and slaughtered in the U.S. each year, so that's just in the U.S., with at least another 900 million of those same animals die either in the farms or in transit to those farms before they even get to our table. In other words, meat production as a whole is responsible for about 18% of the greenhouse emissions that are out there, which far exceeds the automobile industry and the emissions associated with gas and exhaust and whatnot. So it kind of makes you think, like, what kind of carbon footprint are you leaving every time you get in your car when you go to some fast food place to go pick up a burger? Not only are you driving there, which has got its own issues, but now you're also buying into that meat economy. If you're thinking of a good way to start and kind of get on that path, there's tons of literature out there and information on the internet that you can go out and take a look at. One book in particular that's actually become a documentary is called Forks Over Knives. It was written by Colin Campbell, or Dr. Colin Campbell, and Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. Dr. Campbell did a research study in China, and it was a study that was over about 20 years, 15 to 20 years. And it had to do with their dietary intake and meat and the things associated with that. So it's a very, very extensive control group or study group that they did did in China over that time period, and has a lot of great information. Some other things that you may want to take a look at, there's lots of programs that kind of help you make that transition. You go from 60 to 0, or not to be too cheesy here, but to go cold turkey. With going from having a meat-eating diet to becoming a vegetarian, it's a lot to ask. When you do that, you kind of set yourself up for failure, I think. So there's one program out there, it's called Weekday Veg. And the premise behind that is that Monday through Friday, anything with a face, you stay away from. And then on Saturday and Sundays, you give yourself a little bit of cheat, so you can have that hamburger, or maybe preferably something different, whether it be fish or chicken, or even lean red meat might be okay. But doing that, or maybe some version of that, whether it's like 3 days a week as a vegetarian, or 4 days, and then kind of transition from there, I think is a great thing. And if you think about it, if only half of us did that, if half of us went from being meat eaters to vegetarians, then I guess you could say half of us would be vegetarians, and that wouldn't be such a bad thing. Thank you. Thank you.